All right, Reggie here. We're in Noblesville, Indiana, right outside of Indianapolis. I got the Virginmarys. How's it going, guys?
Oh, good. Cheers, man.
Awesome. Yeah, it was just had some nice weather, and now it's starting to pour. So, but nonetheless,
Home now, so.
Does it?
Yeah, it's all right. This is very home.
Awesome. Nonetheless, we're here at May Day 2013.
Yeah,
man. This is a killer lineup today, man. This is an awesome lineup.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. Soundgarden, Bush, especially Bush. I've never seen Bush, so that'll be an interesting one.
Yeah, Bush is probably one I'm looking forward to the most because I grew up listening to them, grew up on them more than Soundgarden, and really excited to see some Glycerine and some Machine Head today. So So you guys are out supporting King of Conflict.
Yep.
Debut album.
That's it.
Yeah.
What was the mindset going into that album?
Well, we kind of got together about 3.5 years ago, and we kind of we quickly sort of made an EP. I think probably after about 6 months, and carried on touring, and then made another EP, and then another EP. So it was kind of like a natural process of kind of we knew exactly what kind of full album we wanted to do, but we just wanted to wait until we got the songs. So then when we had the songs after about 3 EPs, it was like, yeah, it's ready to do the album, and we just went in there and recorded it all live. It was done in like a month.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we wanted to just try and capture what we are as a band live on record. So what you hear on record is like all one take stuff, and it's just as raw as we could get it.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of bands when they go in to record the debut, whether they've been together for a year or they've been together for 3 or 4 years, a lot of times they have a lot of people telling them this is the way it needs to sound, this is what you need to do. Did you find that happened with you guys, or did you guys pretty much have free range to do what you guys really wanted to do?
Complete free range. Like we got with producer Toby Jepson, and it was really just kind of creating what we do live onto the onto the record. So it's we all had input on kind of it's not got enough energy, or there was never any kind of it needs to sound like this or it needs to sound like that. And we wouldn't really want that either. So we kind of did the album off our own back, and then the labels came to us, and then we licensed it too.
Okay. Yeah, when you got an experience like that, writing, recording, putting the album together, I guess it really makes for a lot better experience and more fun playing the album live, because you're not playing something that a lot of other people had input on. You're playing something that is just pure you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I think the idea of doing things to a click track and loads of backing samples and stuff, it's just not really us. It's just we want it to be bass, drums and guitar, and that's exactly what the record is, and that's exactly what you get when you see us live.
Yeah, we kind of think there's not really enough of that going on at the minute. It seems to be like heavy produced studio work, so we just want to keep it as real as we can.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Lee from Pop Evil last week, I think, and said their first couple albums, everyone was telling him it has to sound like this, but with the album that's coming out this coming week, they were able to do what they wanted. They said it's just so much better. I
think that's it. I think that's how we did our EPs. We've kind of always done it on our own, and I'm sure that's what we're going to do for the second and third album.
We chose like a studio with a big live room,
nice.
and just all set up in the same room. And
nice. So you guys, before you recorded the debut, the one you guys are supporting right now, you guys recorded quite a few EPs. So why did you guys decide to just recently record the full-length studio debut?
We just wanted to make sure that it would be as strong as it could possibly be. We wanted to gain as many fans on the way as we could, so we chose to kind of spend most of the time on the road and then just go into the studio, release what we had at the time, and then use that as kind of like the promotion for the tour. Okay. And then when it came to it, we just thought we didn't want to rush anything, so we just, when the time was right, we went in and did it.
Like you said, you guys were on the road a lot, then you went in to record, and you guys were pretty much right back on the road. From what I've heard a lot of bands talk about, when you do that, the album comes out better because you're not taking some time off and you're not going in rush. You're used to playing together, and it makes for a better album in the end.
We can always tell, if we haven't played together for like a month or two, Whether that's ever happened, I don't know. But like, you know, certainly for a while, once you get back in, you are like a lot. It's not as tight, or
Right.
you know, you're not on the same page really. When you spend all your time together, you're kind of singing from the same hymn sheet. Really.
Okay. Cool. So, touring over in the UK and then coming over to the States, what are some of the differences maybe between the shows and fans that you've noticed, or is there really much of a difference?
I think there's a massive difference. Probably the biggest thing is there's a lot more radio in America to do, a lot more interviews in comparison to England. And probably like the audience is just a lot more receptive, you know, like in England they kind of like in a lot of gigs they just sort of stand there and you don't really get a reaction, but at the end they just say how much they loved it, but during the gig you don't get that reaction, whereas in America they kind of seem to let you know whether they think it's really good or not.
Yeah, they seem to embrace it a lot more. Like, it's taken us say 3 years to gain the fan base that we've got over in the UK, so we've got like a really good support. But I mean, coming over here, we're not that well known, and we've just been supporting I Am Dynamite, who are, you know, amazing band. A lot of people hadn't heard us, but they've completely embraced it, you know, straight off the bat, you know, which is you would get certain people, I think, in the UK that would, but a lot more over here. It's really cool.
Ooh. And Dead Man's Shoes doing really, really well right now too.
Yeah, man. It's, you know, still probably pretty surreal for us, I guess. You know, like first time over here, and I think hearing it on the radio was like a bit weird for me. You know, when you actually hear it on the radio and you're like, oh, it's actually our song on the radio. You know,
kind of driving down the road and it's like, go and check these guys out. They're playing to it's like really
it is still really surreal, I think, and it's just surreal that like so many people come to the gigs and know the songs, and especially that one, sing it back to you.
Yeah,
like,
there's been a couple, hasn't there, where there's been like people there when we were on tour with I Am Dynamite that kind of came to see us and were singing along, and it's like these, you know, 3 lads from Noblesville, a little town in England, you know, come over to the States and there's people singing our songs out.
Yeah,
it's like,
certain people like every word.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Wow,
Yeah, it's mental.
Wow. So I mean, you touched on it a little bit. Explain the feeling you get when you're on stage and just thousands of fans are singing along, especially when you're in another country.
I think like it's just one of them. Yeah, it's one of them really kind of shivers down the spine, kind of makes it all worthwhile type of moments where you think, wow, you know what we're doing is actually kind of making that impact that we wanted to when we started. It's quite easy to kind of, you know, when you're really tired from being on the road and that certain shows are quieter than others.
Right.
Yeah, when it all comes together, it's incredible.
Right. I mean, I'd assume that somewhere along the road, there's at one point the thought had to pop in your head, just like, is it worth it to keep going? And then when you get on stage and, you know, you get that feeling, it's like, now, good thing we didn't stop.
It really helps, yeah. If like there's a good crowd behind you, you know, whether it's like 50 people or 500 people, it helps when you're really knackered, you know, and then you hear them like singing along and you hear them like getting behind you. It kind of lifts your spirits up, you know, and you kind of it helps. It definitely helps, man.
So the tour that you're doing right now, is this the most of the United States you've seen so far? Because I know you guys have played a couple shows over here and there. Some Austin, some New York, but you're doing a normal, you know, playing a lot of shows over here now.
Yeah, this is like the first proper time out, really. I mean, we spent a week in October for CMJ Festival, and then obviously we did South by Southwest, but this is kind of like the first proper tour. And it's just, I don't know, really, it's I think even if we weren't in a band, for me personally, just to be going around places like Boston and Minnesota and Indianapolis, you know, these places that sound really cool, you know, in comparison to like in England where we have like Leeds, Hull, you know what I mean? So to me, every single day is a new day, and it's like, wow, I'm in Kentucky today, you know, whatever.
No, I mean, America's so big in comparison to where we are. Like it'd only take 2 weeks to tour the.
Oh wow.
To tour the UK.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It'd take a couple months to tour all of the United States. And some bands tour 2 or 3 times on a cycle.
And it's madness. And I think we're going back to California, and then we just finished the tour with I Am Dynamite yesterday. Now we got some of our own shows.
Nice.
So yeah, it'll be a good way to finish it off. I think we're there till early June.
Wow. So when you're on the road, day in, day out, sometimes you're tired, you get worn out. It's got to be tough to get on stage the night after you get done playing the next day and somehow muster up the energy to like keep going and give the next crowd everything you got. How do you channel that energy? Because I haven't seen you guys live, but from what I've heard, you're one of the most energetic bands that are on tour right now.
Yeah, I don't know. That's, for whatever the reason, that's just the way we've always been. When we first got together 3.5 years ago, the whole thing's about the energy and about the performance. And I mean, we did some shows in South by Southwest where we played like 3 gigs in one day.
Wow.
And I don't know, you don't really think, for me personally, you don't really think that you can actually do the next show with the same amount of energy and the same amount of intensity. But for whatever the reason, the minute I get behind the drums or the minute somebody picks a guitar up, it just kind of happens and we just click.
Just kind of like turn into machines, really. I think like you kind of do, like you can be feeling really awful through the day, but then you've got to do it, and somehow something comes from somewhere.
Nervous energy.
Yeah.
That's what it is, I think.
Now, from what I've heard, Slash is a really big fan of the Virginmarys. Apparently he wears Virginmarys shirts a lot. And is that really sunk in yet?
No,
hit you?
I don't think it did. I mean, we only actually did like 3 shows with him when we got there. He was doing I think he was doing 4 shows. We missed the first one and we got on the other 3. And he was just amazing. I mean, just to meet the guy was incredible anyway. But yeah, the last show he came out wearing our t-shirt, and then I think the next show they played was in like Luxembourg, and Miles Kennedy was wearing our shirt.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just really humbling. I think when we look at photos of him wearing our shirt, it still seems really surreal. Like it didn't happen. A lot of people thought we photoshopped it, but we didn't.
I think sorry, go on.
That's alright, mate. Go on.
I don't know. We're never trying to follow any kind of scene, and we just try and kind of write, timeless music, good tunes, and sometimes it can take a bit longer for people to kind of get what we're doing because everyone's, caught in the scene that's going on. But to get kind of like an endorsement almost from, like someone like Slash, and you just think, wow, we are doing it right.
Nice. So after today, you guys are doing some more touring. What's the rest obviously the rest of the year look for you guys? More touring, maybe recording some more music somewhere down the road?
I think it's going to be all touring from what I can see. I think we've got another 3 weeks here. We get back in June, and then it's the whole festival season in the UK starts.
Yeah.
And then there's talk of us coming back here for a few weeks in July, and then I know we're supposed to be going out to Japan. They want us to come out and do some stuff there.
Got European festival.
European festivals coming up.
Nice.
And we've got to do our own UK tour somehow.
And then we're back into the States, aren't we?
But somewhere in between that, I think we'd all like to record some new stuff,
Right.
So we're going to have to try and find the time to do that, definitely.
Right. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It's been awesome. It's been fun.
Cheers, Reggie.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Cheers, man.
We'll see you guys on stage.
Nice
Yeah.
one, man.